Okay, everybody. So welcome back to A Tiny Revolution. And this is a simple idea for those of you who are building niche communities and are struggling to have folks or get folks to engage or interact or even visit your community once you've set it up. So one of the real kind of obvious kind of paradoxes, let's call it, that many of us struggle with, and I count myself in this group for sure, is once you've created a community, which is very simple now to do. You can spin up a new Circle community, a Mighty Networks community, or even something on WordPress like Buddy Boss or anything that runs on Buddy Press. You can do this very quickly. The software is such that it makes our job as community builders on that side of the street very easy. But where things get really challenging, and this applies to everybody, no matter how much of a public sort of platform you have or persona, or even if you're a pseudo celebrity, I've seen plenty of examples in the last 6 months of sites that are built around a specific niche or audience or even geographical locality that you would imagine are going to be like a huge hit by dint of the numbers of people who've signed up. But when you actually look at the interactivity, the comments on posts, the replies, the likes, et cetera, it's a ghost town, right? And it's easy to get discouraged. And ultimately, I think what happens is people, like any other sort of project, when they don't feel like people are responding or interested or enthusiastic or even, paying attention, it's easy to kind of let the whole thing slide into the abyss of, forgotten, whatever. So here are two ideas. One, and I think this is really for most of us the most easy or the simplest thing to actually execute on, is create cohort-based course communities. So create small groups of people who are going through courses together on, let's say, your Circle community. And essentially what that does is you're no longer competing with attention on Facebook, let's say. So many people hate Facebook or claim to hate Facebook, and I count myself in that group as well, but who still find ourselves interacting more on Facebook because we're already there or whatever the platform is, Twitter or Instagram or a Discord channel, or even Slack, if we're involved in multiple communities on Slack and we're already in that app. It's easier just to kind of stay where you already are rather than add a new platform to your sort of attentional responsibility. So once you start using your niche community to actually deliver content that people don't expect to get on Facebook or in any of those other sorts of applications, you're going to find that your engagement goes way up. So whether you're using, let's call it Circle again, as a LMS, as a learning management system to deliver all of your course-related content, create cohorts and create interactive kind of environments where your members or students or subscribers go through a small sort of learning experience together. And people don't expect to have that experience on Facebook. They don't expect to take quizzes and get certificates and get some sort of very privatized interactive experience with a small group of their peers on Facebook. And if you can successfully deliver something like that on Circle or Mighty Networks or Tribe or Buddy Boss or whatever it may be, you're going to find engagement goes way, way up. So while I, do believe that you never should build your brand on somebody else's land, and in this case, I'm talking about Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and all those sorts of social media platforms, which I've certainly done in the past to my detriment. Like I've built my brand on Facebook for years, only to find out when I really had problems with Facebook, I got hacked and someone stole a bunch of money and changed my profile picture to a, international terrorist and all those sorts of things. And I lost 26,000 people in my community literally overnight. So, I still remember those experiences quite well, and I would not recommend building a community on Facebook today in 2021. It's still very challenging. Like, I still don't recommend people just start a community without any sort of course-related content or any kind of, any sort of experience that they can't get on Facebook or Twitter or et cetera, et cetera. If you're going to do that, you're probably going to fail. So if you are going to build that community, build it with a course-related focus, a cohort-related focus, where people are learning something together in an experience that they could not get using one of the social media analogs that they already use. All right, so that's the easy option, number one. And number two, this is something much more esoteric, but something I'm very excited about, and I think is going to define and redefine the way many of us conceptualize our communities in the next year and certainly far into the future. So you can build these NFT or Web3 sorts of experiences for your members now very, very easily. So what that means essentially is you can create communities that are actually that people feel incentivized, they feel an ownership in by dint of their involvement or engagement within your community. So one of the things that we're doing in 2022 with our Tiny Revolution community is building an NFT. So people have to actually purchase this NFT to get access to all of the content, the cohorts, and the services that we're going to be offering, the swag, all the stuff that comes with this private experience it literally is gated through this NFT, which serves as this all access pass to the whole entire, sort of shebang. And what that ought to do, and again, there's much about this that I'm still brand new at and a dummy in terms of my own experience with this model, as most people are. It's a brand new model. There's there are very few people or examples of this sort of community that are live right now that you can really reference as evidence of success. But in principle, the idea of giving people gated access by dint of this NFT, which is going to go up in value, which incentivizes people to participate, to create content, to build the underlying asset together, it gives them motivation to want to actually contribute, right? Because if they own a underlying piece of the community by dint of this, by virtue of this NFT, and this gives them all sorts of, creative control or some influence or vote or some voice in the direction that the community takes, there is a completely different experience of attention and enthusiasm and energy and a certain amount of robust resilience when it comes to, the stick-to-itiveness that you need your members to actually apply for this sort of community to succeed longer term. So there is a tool that we're using that is in beta right now. It's called InLoop. InLoop.to, I believe, is the extension, and it will allow you to create a membership token, an NFT, for your community for free, that then you can, add all of the, sort of attendant benefits that your members in the first cohort or the first founders will get, again, when they sign up. So this is a model that I'm seeing emerge more and more that makes a lot of sense to me, where people are actually buying into a movement, a tribe of their peers with shared goals. And you don't have to give up, when I say creative control, you're not giving up like everything with respect to the direction of your community to the people who buy into the community. You're essentially giving them a vote or a voice, and you're giving the underlying asset, which is this NFT, a value that will appreciate the more folks actually interact and engage and make the community a place that other people want to join. There's a lot of nuance to this. I'm not going to cover all this in this quick call. And certainly there's a lot of nuance to this that I've yet to discover. But if you really want people to evangelize for your brand, for your business, for your community, you have to give them, or you don't have to, but you should really give them some other incentive, some extra incentive to get involved and to participate. And there's no better way of saying to somebody here, take advantage of all these incredible benefits that are only available to members who have this verifiable claim that, by the way, they can sell later. So if they sign up for this and are not getting a lot of value from it or feel like they want to, move on to something else, they can sell this NFT to somebody else who may be at the right time or in the right moment of their lives to want to actually, come in and quote unquote replace that person's, kind of presence within the community. So, there's a lot to unwrap in all of this, but I think it's an amazingly exciting time to be a creator, to be a community builder, to be an author, an artist, and to be an imaginative entrepreneur. And I really think that these sorts of tools, which are now becoming more and more available to the rest of us, folks who are not coders, who are not hiring huge tech teams to build out these platforms, or software developers, this tool, InLoop, is actually free, and they take a percentage of your membership. And of course, you can actually have these NFTs be resold in future iterations. So, they also, take a percentage of that as well. But it allows you to start something like this from scratch without any tech team on your side. All you need is a Circle account and an InLoop membership NFT, and you could do something completely innovative, unique, impressive, really, really blow people away in your niche, market, industry, vertical, marketplace, locality, etc., simply by applying these two principles in concert together. So we're going to be doing this, and I'm just telling, this is literally my strategy for 2022. We're not using Circle. We're using a different app for community that's kind of not really publicly available yet, which I'll be sharing with folks in my private community in the next week or so. But we're using this model together, this other app, community building app, with this InLoop.to approach to gating our community with a token, and then rolling this out and improving, optimizing, tweaking, critiquing, iterating, and just kind of building it out and seeing where it goes. So I'm not an expert. I certainly don't have all the answers, but I'm very excited about the early tests that we've done, or that I've done, and that I share with a couple of my peers. And I think everyone is kind of like has had these sort of jaw-dropping kind of moments of excitement with respect to what will be possible even in a month or two that is not yet possible today. And I think for, building a brand, building a business, building a creative-driven community, this is really, we are at the cusp of what I think is going to be a complete revolution that will align with the incentives of, or with the interests of, authors and artists and small, tiny creators and creatives, which is why I'm so excited about our tiny revolution. So teach what you know, do what you love, wake up the world with your work. I hope this has been helpful. Again, if you're interested in joining us, you can sign up via the link below. Thanks so much, and have a wonderful day.